Right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Guys, let's go and jump into it.
I think the administration feels very optimistic. Obviously, you've seen, Steve, that the president's entire team, including Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio and the vice president and the president himself, Secretary Hegseth as well, have been working so hard on this effort, and they all really want to see this war come to an end. They had very good talks with the Ukrainians in Florida, and now, of course, Special Envoy Witkoff is on his way to Russia. This is sort of the shuttle diplomacy that you've seen from this administration play out, where we speak equally with both sides. We've put points on paper. Those points have been very much refined, but we do feel quite good, and we're hopeful that this war can finally come to an end.
Okay. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt discussing the ongoing peace talks to secure an end to the Russian-Ukraine war. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are in Moscow right now. They're set to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin today to iron out details on President Trump's 19-point peace plan. Russia and Ukraine trading drone strikes this weekend. Ukraine hitting a Russian oil tanker on Saturday in the Black Sea using Navy drones. Moscow carrying out strikes in Ukrainian territory, reportedly killing at least 4 people and injuring many others. I want to bring in Heritage Senior Research Fellow and former Deputy National Security Advisor for Vice President Dick Cheney, Steve Yates. Steve, good morning. I think the biggest takeaway from today is going to be what will Vladimir Putin, agree to. And you say you don't see any evidence so far that he's moving in this direction. So
Exactly. Again, that's kind of the problem that I'm having specifically with this. Like, listen, I understand. We're trying our hardest to do whatever we can possibly do to kind of stop what's going on over here, guys. Listen, if there is no evidence, and I'm glad someone else is pointing this out here, right? Show me the evidence of Putin actually, deciding seriously that he's trying to stop this kerfuffle. Because all I hear is a whole bunch of talking, guys, no action. Listen, we've already seen exactly what has happened historically whenever Putin is basically sat down at a table and contracts are handed out. He's just going to go against it. So I'm just trying to see what's different now, guys.
Why are these talks happening then?
Well, it's the constant gardening of real diplomacy. I mean, there were 3 years of unrestricted warfare in which there were no negotiations whatsoever. And I thought that was exceedingly irresponsible, and there was a heavy price paid by many in all of that. And the Trump administration, in under a year, has done an enormous amount of work to reorient allies in a somewhat less dependent relationship with Russia and to do more to rally their resources. A lot of what Secretary Rubio was doing to paint out that path to prosperity for Ukraine post-conflict involves European neighbors stepping in important ways. And it gives Ukraine some hope that there is a path post-conflict. The key, though, for me is, has Vladimir Putin made the strategic choice? They are the ones that invaded. They are the ones that have not stopped hitting their neighbor. And that's where I think the hardest part of all of this is. But I think the administration is doing all the right things, the right strategy, the right work. You just don't control what the aggressive adversary was really ready and willing and able to do.
And it still comes down to, it seems to be, land and also security guarantees for Ukraine. And we've heard a lot of talk from our European allies. We'll see if they're more willing to step up and give us just more than words about what they're going to do for Ukraine. I want to move over to Taiwan and China with you. Taiwan has been shoring up defense systems in the face of these increasing threats coming from China. Taiwan's defense ministry is working with the U.S. Embassy to buy Northrop Grumman's integrated battle command system for its T-Dome air defense system. China scrambling for
upcoming T-Dome air defense system, guys. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to emulate the Iron Dome, specifically in Israel. I hope it works. Listen, I hope it works, guys. Right? Truthfully, I don't think that you should have to bend over, for the most part, to the tyranny of the one China doctrine, guys. I mean, listen, you guys have like amazing allies out there, guys. Right? Just work on fostering that. Do not specifically kowtow in this context.
Allies to support its desire to take over Taiwan. France's Emmanuel Macron is expected to travel to Beijing and meet with Xi Jinping this week. We heard statements coming from the Élysée Palace in France, basically, giving a thumbs up to Xi Jinping, for lack of a better term here, saying that they believe that Beijing controls Taiwan.
Okay.
Listen to what Gordon Chang told me yesterday about where he thinks China and Xi Jinping stand right now.
Beijing has gone on a bender. So every conversation it has with every country is going to focus on Japan and Taiwan, as it has since November 7th. Since then, China picked this confrontation, and it has been losing. And so I think that China is now looking for allies far and away. But clearly right now, China has been humbled by someone who will not be cowed by Beijing's bluster.
Cowed.
I think about the Philippines in that
You're
comment.
right.
I think
You
about
are
the
right.
new Prime Minister of Japan, despite the French seemingly to support Beijing. Your thoughts?
Well, it's exceedingly disappointing to see European leaders who live in a luxurious environment protected by an alliance and favorable economic terms with their neighbors sit there and concede things to Beijing that Beijing has never earned or had a right to.
Yeah, but we're talking about France, though.
And we are blessed to have a change in leader in Japan. A lot of my friends refer to her as the Iron Lady of Asia.
She's great. She's great.
Has Margaret
Seriously.
Thatcher as kind of a mentor model to follow. And the fact that she's been reasonable but not willing to break in the face of Beijing's constant political warfare pressure has been a blessing to deterrence. But really, as you noted, the Philippines has also been constantly tested, and they have chosen to be a real resilient ally in that first island chain, doing the right things that President Trump's team has been asking on modernizing their capabilities, investing more in their defense, looking at sea and air defenses. These are all the right things. And so Beijing's political warfare to try to recast what the Communist Party was in World War II just isn't selling like it used to.
Yeah, well, and the Philippines deployed their Coast Guard flagship over the weekend to counteract China and their attempts there. So I think that's a good thing. But I want to pivot back to you for a second, back to Russia and Ukraine and kind of China's role in all this. We had Victoria Coates with on the last hour, and she made the point that everything that you're seeing between Russia and Ukraine points back to China, and that Vladimir Putin is looking to make sure that he follows in the will and pleases Xi Jinping. There's an economic story there. Who is buying Russian oil? Well, it's China. So if Vladimir Putin wants to keep his war machine going, he needs the Chinese.
That's a valid point.
Victoria's exactly right.
That's a valid point. I didn't look at it like that.
It's one of the most frustrating parts of this entire exercise, where a lot of the world looks at the European theater and they have demonized Vladimir Putin and Russia relentlessly through the process, and that's been well deserved. But they have had kind of kid gloves when it comes to the leader of China. It sort of gets at the French leader's willingness to warm up with an aggressor in Beijing for economic interests while ignoring that same leader's role in sustaining the Russian war machine. You just can't solve the conflict in Europe by having kid gloves with the leader of China. And so that is where the world has had a slower wake-up call, and more of the U.S. team is having, I think, a better set of allies to work and improve with in East Asia.
Yeah, guys, I definitely think that more people should probably travel a little bit, right? Like move around Europe for like a year at least. That sounds like a gigantic ask, let's say this year, or ask someone like a friend of yours or something, right? That just so happens to live in Europe for like their whole life, right? And you'll start to realize France is, it's an interesting place, right? People generally speak of France interestingly. Okay, so if it was any other country other than France, I'd be like, that's wild. Guys, did they really do that? But it's France we're talking about, bro. Listen, guys, I live half the year in the south of Spain. I have not ever, since 2015, heard anyone say anything good about France. And all of like the British people that I encounter specifically in the south of Spain also have kind of the same, response. So I don't know, bro, who's that surprised? I think we're surprised because I think we think that the European Union acts like the United States of America. It doesn't. They all act like they are in fact their own countries. Okay. We've kind of gotten over that. We no longer call our nation states countries. We just call them states. You get what I mean here? They don't do that there. Right. So you have to understand it's a different level of like closeness, let's say, that we have that they don't. For the most part, France is the New Jersey of Europe. Okay. That's what that is. It's the New Jersey and California of Europe, period. Guys. It is what it is, guys. I'm not surprised, but I'm also happy at least that Taiwan is kind of standing up for themselves a little bit. I'm also super hype at the new leader of Japan. I love her. I think she's going to be really good for like the political scene overall, and the fact that she immediately backed Taiwan specifically for in that region and started pulling their business interests specifically out of China. Guys, great job, guys. They are making a hard stand. Like, understand why all of this is happening. Even the guy who was just talking kind of mentioned the fact that they've been fighting this battle since World War II, like WW2. In fact, they have been. They've been fighting this battle. Understand this here. In 1949, it was like a civil war. Okay. And that in itself is what allowed Taiwan to basically split from China. China, or the PRC specifically, has basically been pushing out all of this propaganda for the most part here, right? They truthfully believe that they are embarrassed. Well, no, they don't believe it. They are embarrassed mentally that they lost a piece of their country. And that's what we're talking about right now, by the way. Like, that's what this is here. It's all about pride, and they feel humiliated because Taiwan does not want to kind of come back into the one China doctrine type of thing, guys. That's it here. That's their whole beef right now, bro. And obviously there's like another element, which is like a technological and like skilled labor element thing that happens here. Understand this here. A lot of other countries in that region specifically are starting to realize that they can no longer compete really too much in China, doing business in China as a foreign company. Let's just say this year, they really can't compete anymore, guys, because anything that they have is just going to get taken via intellectual property theft. And China's going to build it and then undercut their prices, guys. That's just kind of how that ends up happening all the time. This isn't new information, guys. I think the company Mitsubishi just suffered a gigantic loss, I think in 2024 along with 2025, selling no more than 7,000 cars within a year, guys. This is not sustainable for a mega manufacturer, guys. It's not sustainable. So, and also obviously the geopolitics of the region right now. Taiwan is pulling a lot of their companies. Japan is pulling a lot of their companies also from China. There's just a lot happening. I know we're going to end up getting sucked into this nonsense, guys, because we always tend to get sucked up into this nonsense. But I'm guessing it's going to come by way of Japan, most probably. Japan basically has come out and said, "Listen, if you consistently push, we're going to start pushing back." That sounds like fighting words in the context of geopolicy, guys. Right? But either way, geopolitics. But listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And obviously, as the story progresses, we'll definitely kind of follow it. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to like promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies. And I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings, and we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry. Right? Listen, like and subscribe.